Hey everyone, welcome back to 3D6 Down the Line, the most critically underwatched actual play series on the internet. This is episode 99 of the Halls of Arden Vul Megadungeon Crawl by Richard Barton using a heavily modified version of the old school Essential System by Necrotic Gnome. My name is John. I'm your referee for the evening, and tonight we have...
Hi, I'm Mike. I am playing Brother Lothar, the 6th level cleric of Odin. And John, I got to tell you, man, this doesn't feel more than like 59 episodes.
It's like basically a one shot. I mean, it's...
At which point we were already exhausted, but yes. Matt?
Yes. I'm Matt. I play Wolfhard Cheek, 6th level fighter, and your Old-Obi-Wan Kenobi for the evening.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ted. Tonight I will be reprising my role as Mortis J. Gobliano, the odds-on favorite for MVP at Super Bowl 59.
Normally we would have David with us tonight, but he is dead to us. All right. So
I would like to point out that it's the Super Bowl, and I'm here with you guys.
Yes, you're a beautiful human being, Mike.
How little I care about this game.
We have our priorities in line, so we hope all of you do
Watch the commercials tomorrow.
Okay. So it is the 19th of Julianos. It is 5:10 p.m. They are currently in the lower bridge area of the shining beacon of glorious heaven. After having followed Upior down there, and you found yourself in a very strange room where 3 of the walls are completely filled with black view screens mounted on plasteel. And there's 2 low consoles there. One of them happens to be a Nutrivore 2500, which you have yet to investigate. There's ambient lighting that activated when walked in. And almost immediately upon entering, a hologram appeared, life-size, of a female Rudishva dressed in traditional Rudishva garb, which is basically like flowing robes. Like, it's not the orange jumpsuit that Upior is currently wearing. Upior's not here, actually, since he's in the NPC cloud. And introduced herself as AKL 600, otherwise known as Akla Cha. And you
John,
were just about to dive into that. Yeah.
Yeah, just to reiterate, does my turn go off?
Are you doing that for
Holy
real?
symbol, everything.
No, it's fine.
All right. So, okay. So
I just wanted
to
I wanted to clarify something. So this room has the Nutrivore 2000 in it, right?
2500.
Oh, 2500.
Ooh, that's even better.
Beg your pardon. It means it comes with whipped cream on top.
I think I'm like a savage.
I know. I'm sorry. 2500. and that was like a freestanding console that was in the...
There's
2 of them?
There's 2 of them, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And that had like a dispenser opening underneath it or something? Was that the...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there are also 7 circular tables in here, each with a trio of stools that kind of are dotted around the chamber. So it looks sort of like a lounge or
it's 10 forward.
Yeah. Is Gaine like tending bar?
Is who?
I'm sorry, Star Trek
joke.
Star Trek joke.
John, your fantasy bias is showing.
Yeah.
If we at a glance, John, looking around the room, do we see any of those data crystals around that go into the...
No.
So
okay,
close.
we're talking to a freaking AI hologram, so let's ask it some questions.
Okay.
Yeah. So she says as she appears and kind of sizes you guys all. She looks obviously insubstantial. She looks like a spirit or a ghost to you. In fact, that was what was sort of noted in our Kantian language, pointing in that direction, that there was a strange ghost in the room. And she looks very pleasant and smiles at you. She's got the tiny little horns. The sort of sallow face, but obviously of a feminine form. And she says, I am known as Akla Cha. I am she kind of puts like one hand on her hip, like a little bit of sass a little bit, and kind of just sort of, she moves her hands around as if she's just sort of talking to you casually, and looks you all directly in the eyes, And she says, I'm a self-aware artificial intelligence created by the Rudishvan hegemony hegemony, and assigned to the York-class exploration vessel, the Shining Beacon of Glorious Heaven. It is truly a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Based upon your genus, species, and planetary origin, I'm going to make the assumption that you're not familiar with an entity such as my own, and so allow me to quell your misgivings by informing you that my primary directive is psychological reinforcement for the Redishvan crew of the Shining Beacon. In the cultures of this planet, perhaps it would be more comfortable for you to view me as a benevolent spirit, here to help in any way that I can to those who can exhibit a certain moral fortitude. And she just smiles benevolently at all of you.
I like surreptitiously put my holy symbol back underneath my cloak.
With that in mind, I just was wondering, just to start us off here, what is your purpose in what has become to be known as the halls of Arden Vul?
Exploration. We're here for exploration.
Interesting. And would that include specifically exploring the remnants of the Shining Beacon of Glorious Heaven?
Indeed it does, madam.
Absolutely. Yes. It's fantastic down here.
And you must therefore have some sort of claim on these. But I don't remember seeing you at the time that the Arcantians were in control here.
Can I ask her, are you familiar with the Arcantian calendar?
I am, yes.
Okay. I tell her what year it is in the Arcantian calendar.
Yes. Well, I should say that I'm quite aware of what year it is, and my question was a little bit rhetorical and maybe even a little bit mean-spirited. Of course, you don't have any claim to any of the items or territory of the Shining Beacon.
Well, if I may be so bold, I would say that there are no mortal authorities left from your time period that would be able to give such claim. So we are here purely as to gather information, to find out about the Redishvan culture, its mission here on our planet. I don't know what it's called, and to figure out what has happened to your people and whether or not they are somewhere else in the plains seeking out the lost crew members from this place.
You sound like you are very steeped in a great deal of knowledge that I myself am not aware of. So you're telling me that you are absolutely positive that no Redishvans actually survived? Because that is news to me, because my knowledge says otherwise.
Oh, well, that's news to us. We have been exploring the halls quite extensively for the last, 3 days, guys? Just 3 days? It's just been 3 days? For the last
99 sessions.
Okay, last several months. And while we have found numerous indications of your people, including artifacts that allowed us to gain access to parts of your facility, would I know that word? Your fortress?
Sure.
Your fortress. We have yet to come across any living members, but we have heard tales of their exploits dating back 900 years when our, Marius Tricotor was the archon of this place.
Yes, I am well aware of the great conqueror, Marius Tricotor. In my first meetings and dealings with the Arcantians, these thousands of years later. Interesting. So you're saying that your motivation in exploration is simply the furtherance of knowledge. Is that correct? No desire to loot tombs or to take what you deem as treasure for your own? He just smiles at you.
Not really about loot exactly.
Theft, I would say. Theft would be,
Ted,
maybe that's the word.
Can I sidebar with Ted here real quick? She made a point of saying something about moral turpitude or whatever the phrase is.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to walk a really fine line of being like, we're not treasure goblins. We're not.
No, I'm aware of that. What I wanted to say
I just want to make sure you're picking up what I was laying down there.
I am picking it up. And what I wanted to say was that we're trying to gather the materials necessary to get the shuttle flight worthy. Which sounds to me like mission critical. Like that's not.
I don't think you should say that.
Okay, fine.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, because then we sound like loot goblins, right? Like we're just like
we're trying to reactivate the ship. The big mission of the Redishva was to get this thing going, and then something happened. Like we're like, I want to complete that mission. That sounds like good moral turpitude to me.
I have a line of questioning that may sense. So
Okay.
So Wolf will ask, what it sounds, I mean, we're aware of the old stories of survivors. They talked about them a lot. We know a few by name, of course. I can't imagine that any of those could be so long-lived that they're still alive.
Well, that's she doesn't have the hesitation that I do, of course, but she says that is true. The lives of the Rhodesians, although they were quite longer than your average human, after the crash landing of the Shining Beacon, and when the Rhodesians learned that they were going to, there was no way for them to actually exit to repair the ship. Other means were studied to continue their lives, to extend their lives even further than normal. So it's quite possible that it may still be around, although I have not seen or interacted with one in quite some time.
May I hazard some information here, which I don't know if this is within your purview. In our travels, we came across a chamber that seemed to hold some large white stone caskets with see-through lids. And inside were several people that, or beings that we thought could potentially be Rhodesians or travelers of such sort.
Of course, she laughs. She's like, "Indeed, yes. That would be the cryogenic containment station, one of the modules that did survive the crash." Yes. Maynard is probably better that. In fact, I'm shocked actually that you actually were able to come across that. The contact with that module has not been made in millennia, frankly. But if the status of it at the time of the crash is still intact, it is well for you that you did not try to breach those units. There are some very strange species, some of them toxic to human life, that would have caused a nasty surprise should you have opened them. On the other hand, there was, I believe, a Rudishva that was actually in stasis there. I don't remember her status exactly, but yeah.
Well, since we're having a friendly conversation here, thank you for the information that some of those species may be dangerous. I guess my query was, are any of them the lost crew members of your ship, and would it benefit you or the Rhodesian people in general to return some of them?
Return? What do you mean return them?
Like go wake them up, John, and bring them back here. You know what I'm saying? She would be very pleased to come into contact with any of the original Rhodesian crew. She asked for one moment while she accesses her records as to who exactly is in the Deep Space unit. And I have it right here. Give me 1 second. Her name is Sheila. She's a Virgo.
Her name is Lola.
She was a showgirl.
It is indeed a female. It was a Rhodesian. Her name is Triv Locke.
Yep, we had that name. That was on the this control screen or on the pod. I can't remember, but yeah, we read that name.
She was what you would call an officer, what the Rhodesian hegemony would call a Jemadar on the beacon. Very knowledgeable of course, the time when whenever the Rhodesians actually ruled this place.
Well, you mentioned one thing that these some of these survivors have tried all sorts of things to stay alive. Can you tell us what kinds of things they might have tried?
Unfortunately, those secrets were not divulged to me. I was only aware that experiments were happening.
Well, how rude!
I didn't.
We have discovered a recording which seems to give instructions on how to fuel one of the shuttlecraft, what was called a shuttlecraft in the recording, with enough fuel to allow it to travel back to its home plane.
Indeed.
Did you know about
that recording to you, would you be able to understand the magic behind it?
Oh, it's not magic. It's simply science, of course. But yes, I am aware of this plan. In fact, it was such a shame that hold on a second.
The engineer guy,
Bob.
Didn't we find his dead body?
Yeah, we got the fuel containers from him.
Mm-hmm.
It was she said it was such a shame that the engineers and especially headed under Feck Pryal were on the verge of a breakthrough when we were betrayed by the traitorous Kalyani, who allied with Heketi to overthrow the Rudishva rule in Arden Vul, wiping most of them out using a Heketi plague. Only a few of the Rudishvans survived, and it was these the Rudishvans that actually, at least some of them, a small contingent of them, that were the ones that began their experimentations in extending life and the furtherance of the species. But most of them went into hiding. There's only a handful. Very sad. That is when I lost contact. Until now.
Huh. Do you think that like Melicorius is still alive, or Neclorus?
I couldn't say. I don't have enough information.
Have you ever heard of a fella? I'm just throwing something out there. Have you ever heard of a fella named Kurbog Khan?
Kurbog Khan? No, the name is not familiar to me. It seems native, or it seems native to this local culture. Would I be correct in that assumption?
We don't know.
I've never heard of one like that. I mean, it had kind of a similar ring. When I've learned all these new names of all your Rhodesian people and some of these survivors, it had something of a similar ring to it. I was just curious.
It's interesting because it doesn't have the same ring to me. What was the name that you gave me, Mortis?
That would have been a Rhodesian named Melicorius.
Melicorius. That name is specifically Arcantian in its form.
I
know that when the Arcantians actually were in contact with the small amount of survivors, and these are the Arcantians that I dealt with, and frankly, if you don't mind my saying so, I was not terribly impressed with the virtues of your species, I should say. Quite rude.
Excuse me. I'm not a human.
I have something to say about that as well, actually. But again, as I said, when I was dealing with the Arcantians, they tended to Arcantinize the actual names of the Rudishva, since they were a little bit awkward on the human tongue, apparently. If I were to guess, I would say that if they were referencing Melicorius, of the small number, about 10 or 11, I would imagine, of the survivors, that they were probably referring to the Rudishva known as Melok Rai.
Oh, that would make sense.
Melok Rai. Yeah, that does make sense. That's a very Arcantian thing to do. My name was Mort, but they changed me into Mortis J. Gobliano. So, they're always
as
changing
is their
names.
Want. And Mort, I would ask you, I'm very curious, as I see that you're very different in shape and form and size to your companions. And I recognize you as what they call a goblin in these areas. You're a member of a servitor species to the humans, similar in many respects to the Varamani, apropos of the Rudishva, yet you idolize their programs of organized and systematized violence. Is it this affinity for human weakness and cruelty that has prevented you thus far from helping your own people to throw off their shackles of oppression?
No, I would say, in fact, that the goblin species is clearly the next evolutionary step here on our world, and that the Arcantians, aware and jealous of our obvious superiority, have systematically and relentlessly oppressed my people in order to prevent our true ascension and takeover as we really ought to. We are a very cultured,
fecund.
I think is the word you're looking for.
But definitely fecund people, and it's a true tragedy. But
yet I see you also have an affinity for their dress.
Yes, well, it's the I'll tell you what, we've been down here for months, and I have yet to find another suit of armor that fits me. So that's really what that's all about.
Well, if you weren't aware, I'm fairly sure, at least this is what the Arcantians told me, unless they've all been wiped out, that there is a sizable contingent of goblins. I'm sure that you could find dress more appropriate to your cultural background.
The goblins that live here in the dark hole of Arden Vul have sadly devolved into a fecund, but also fetid debasement of the true goblin superior
Why do you hate your people, man?
A little bit of self-hatred is not looking good on you.
No, the Imperial goblins are noble, but
the Imperial goblins that are part of the oppressed underclass being used as cannon fodder by the Arcantian military.
It's truly tragic.
Your companion does speak the truth. If I may be so bold, I hope I am not projecting too much, and I don't want to assume anything, Mortis, that you above all are a representative of the entire species, but I should say that it does seem rather odd that you are so quick to condemn the underground goblins compared to the what appears to be a group of goblins that are only supposedly civilized because of how they've adopted the trappings of their oppressors.
Shame.
Life is a strange layers upon layers of mysteries and confusion. We're just, I'm afraid, chained to the inside of a cave, watching the light pass through. It's a mystery.
Well, now that you've been enlightened here by what the situation actually is, will you be taking steps immediately to further the well-being of the goblins here in Arden Vul?
I will slay all the humans immediately. No, wait, that seems wrong. I have thought long and hard about the means by which I might elevate my debased brethren here of Arden Vul into the higher realms of thought and culture.
Well, thinking is one thing and action is another, as I've told the Rhodesians many times.
Absolutely true, man. Be the change that you visualize.
Well, my visualized change largely involves activating the spaceship again and flying around and demonstrating for everyone the might of the Goblin Warrior.
A strange
so
way
basically
to go
just
about
flying away and leaving them all behind is what you're saying.
No, I believe I want to invent something called the strafing run.
I'm shocked.
This is a little off-putting, if you ask me.
It seems a little self-serving, if I may be so bold. I don't mean in any sort of condemnatory way, Mortis. You must understand, but I feel that you may be blind a little bit to your weaknesses, if I may be so bold.
Well, I mean,
the unexamined life is not worth living.
I assume you refer to my wisdom score of 7, which yes, I'm well aware.
Well, Mortis, it is a great pleasure to meet and talk with you, and I'm glad that I've learned so much more about you. And she kind of just turns her benevolent
away from Mort. I take a look at, I'm just kind of like, and I just slide away a little bit.
She smiles at you, Mort, and then she just kind of shifts her gaze right over to Wolford, and she just says with no sort of blame or guilt thing or anything, she just says in a very matter-of-fact way, "You are a man of violence." Now, if unless I'm incorrect, your chosen line of work seems to be the application of judicious or non-judicious violence in pursuit of wealth and power. Do you believe that this is a worthy calling, Mr. Cheek?
Well, if you put it that way, it can be. This is
Interesting.
We live in a world that's fraught with danger and filled with aggressive creatures that just come out of nowhere and bite you with poison and stab you with things and throw you around. It's horrible. Not very far. We just earlier today there were these stupid invisible cave beaver things that all we did was we were just wandering around and they just turned into rock monsters and tried to pummel you.
And you're saying that those were nearby, as in the halls of Arden Vul. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yes. Now, I mean, we've been bouncing around quite a bit since then, but time-wise, they're not far.
But would you say that these weird cave beavers, as you put them, would you be
invisible?
Would you find that you would need to your sword to swing just perhaps say about 15 miles in any direction?
Would I need my sword to swing in 15 miles in any
Why are
direction?
you here in Arden Vul if not to put your violence into the ecosphere?
Well, it seems to me that if you're worried about danger and that the only way to meet danger is with the end of a blade, that perhaps you should remove the sources of danger. Remove yourself from the sources of danger and seek a more peaceful life. One filled with
retirement fund. We're trying to build up a good retirement fund.
There's another way to look at it, which is this. This is an exciting, incredible place. I mean, you could look at me. You know that I'm old as anything, right? I mean, I know what's on the other side of that door over there. It's a metaphorical door that I'm pointing to behind me, and it's my own death. Right over there, or there, or there. I'm here risking what's left of my miserable life because I'm curious. I'm
Interesting.
hungry for what.
And you're saying that with that sort of fatalistic view that you're bound to meet your end here in the halls of Arden Vul, discovering things and satisfying your curiosity. What I've come to understand from my dealings with humans is that they put a great value on family and peace. And I would think that maybe perhaps you were cut from a different cloth, as the Archontians were wont to say, that you would want to be on your deathbed in a quiet, peaceful place, warm, with your family around you, holding your hand. Am I incorrect in that assumption?
It would be nice if I had one.
You were an orphan.
Confirmed bachelor forever. Parents, they've been gone forever.
Bring out the four-page backstory.
So,
just a moment. I've got a few paragraphs here. I mean, there's a woman I've got my eye on. With some plans, but
well,
still,
that is interesting.
I mean,
that seems very healthy. And why would you not pursue that instead of pursuing a life of violence?
I'm not pursuing the violence. The violence just happens while you're looking for stuff.
But you are obviously resourceful. You have found your way to me. Therefore, you probably know of ways out of the halls of Arden Vul and back to your prospective love. Why wouldn't you take that route?
Well, I've got to impress her, don't I?
Is she the type that was only be impressed? Should you bring back treasures and stolen items?
Oh, you have no idea. Have you ever met someone whose heart is so stony cold, whose gaze is so fierce and unforgiving that you can't think of anything else but trying to melt it?
She sounds like quite a person, well worthy of a man of your stature.
Oh, she
sounds like a lot of drama, Wolford. Maybe you should find somebody like kind.
Oh no! If you could melt that rock, the fire within.
Well, I certainly, and I say this sarcastically, I can see then why a woman of that caliber would require you to continue an unending trail of bloodshed to her threshold. But it is a great pleasure to meet you as well, Mr. Cheek. I've learned so much.
I mean, you do seem to misunderstand one thing. You seem to think that I'm here seeking violence. I abhor the stuff. Every time I get into a fight, something tries to kill me. We do everything possible to avoid danger.
Except leave Arden Vul.
Leave Arden. I mean, but if you leave the mysteries of this place behind. We wouldn't ever have met you.
We should ask Codswallop about that theory.
Oh dear.
This is true. I can't help but I should say that based upon your eye dilation, I do believe that you're hedging around the truth just a little bit. I do believe that you would like to abhor violence, but that when it does come to your doorstep, that you do take some joy in the act of committing it, as long as you feel it's well deserved. Would I be incorrect?
I think that's fair. When something's trying to kill you, and you are able to stop it, it is something. It's kind of satisfactory. It just, it hurts my feelings really when people try to kill me, and so hurting their feelings back is somewhat justified, I should think.
Understood. It's a very good rationalization.
Aklacha, is this what you meant about psychological reinforcement?
Well, I am as the creators made me, and she kind of laughs. I really can't help myself. Pardon me if some of my questions do seem rude. Brother Lothar.
Yes.
Well, here we go.
I detect in you an allegiance to an unseen power, one whose supposed dogma weighs heavily on your moral decision-making. After your death, when this entity sits in judgment of you, what actions have you taken while in these halls that were truly selfless and that will guarantee you an afterlife of bliss?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about Odin.
Do you have any pamphlets?
Odin is the one-eyed god of wisdom and war, and he sits in judgment on us in a place called Valhalla, where we get to party all day, or no, kill people all day and then party all night. But Odin is a wise god, and he hung himself on a tree for like 13 days or something like that, just to gain wisdom. And then he cost him an eye or something cool like that. I don't remember all the stories. I'm not really all that.
He seems like fascinated by these stories.
Yeah, he's fascinating. But I'd like to tell you that I am not a violent man. I am here to gain wisdom, as would befit my God. And my hands are the hands of a healer. And often I will visit upon the sick and heal them with the powers of Odin. Have you thought about taking the Odin into your heart?
Unfortunately, my programming wouldn't allow me to adopt those tenets. But that sounds like a wonderful religion. Yeah. I sincerely hope that in this world that the religions are not simply opiates as they are in so many other places to which I have been brought. But so you would say that your actions here in general in the halls of Arden Vul have been of an altruistic nature, of a selfless nature, a helping nature.
Well, how do you define the gaining of wisdom and knowledge? Is it altruistic, or is there a possible selfish aspect to both?
I would say on the surface,
something be both at the same time?
I think that they probably could, depending on the motives. I would say that in your case, it seems selfish that you wish to attain wisdom for yourself, but it all depends on how you would then intend to apply that wisdom. How would you intend to apply it?
Well, for me, the greatest goal that I could visit upon the halls of Arden Vul would be to restore some sense of law and order and safety to its denizens. The goblins, as you rightly pointed out, are debased and degenerate at this point. But what would happen if they were given structure in the halls of Arden Vul? What would happen if a strong leader was able to rise them up out of their debased ways? And what if some leader could bring all of the different peoples of Arden Vul together? Would that not be a worthy goal if the violence were to overall decrease?
I do think that is a worthy goal. And who did you have in mind to take this rightful place?
Well, there you go. That's the seeking of knowledge and wisdom, correct? We have not met all the various factions yet here in Arden Vul. And right now, our greatest desire is to explore the peoples and the history of your culture, or your creator's culture, I should say, since you are not actually alive, correct? You are just some sort of spirits pre-programmed to ask people questions.
This is true, actually, yes. So that is a simplified version of it, but yes, that is true. Well,
do you get satisfaction? Do you find satisfaction in your existence?
I do. I get lonely at times. It has been. It's always a great pleasure to see anyone new. It's been a very long time, and since you are the first intelligent species that has visited this area since, I would say, nigh on a couple of millennia, since Marius Tricotor and the legions first established their control here, and forged their way and found their way into the bridge and contacted me at first. As I said before, though, they weren't my favorite people. They were very pushy, seemed to revel in their own ignorance, and were seeking only power for their own personal gain. And so forgive me if my questions, again, seemed abrupt or rude, but I've had bad experiences in the past, and I'm not predisposed to help anyone who is not Rudishva, to be perfectly honest.
This is fair. This is fair. If I may, I've got a question for you, if I could.
Of course, ask away.
I mean, you've been here for so long, lonely for part of it, I'm sure. I mean, a millennium is a long time. I'm sure you probably played a few games, sang a few songs to yourself. That's what I do when I'm lonely.
I do have Minecraft.
And craft, not just Minesweeper. Nice.
I've rebuilt the entire halls of Arden Vul in Minecraft.
That's amazing. I'd love to see some of your maps. I'm just curious, what is it that you want? I mean, we've become aware, obviously, of this plan, this ability to fix this shuttle or whatever, this boat, that could theoretically get the people of this beacon back to their home world. Is that something that you would want to do, or are you content staying down here buried in this rock forever?
Well, I should say that my desires have very little to do with it. I am programmed to be able to go into a state of hibernation, and so the years mean nothing to me unless I care to have them mean something to me, which I do. But yes, as it goes, I was privy to the to Feck Pryle's and the captain's plans to shift the goal to reactivate the entire ship, which was found to be impossible, to retrofitting the shuttle. And I would very much like to see that through for the purely selfish reason that should that come to pass, that the shuttle is activated, that I would be able to come with whoever managed to get that shuttle.
Are you portable? Can you be moved?
I can, yes. In this form now, as you see me, she kind of does a 360 in the room. I can only be accessed here in the observation lounge, but my programming is in the room directly outside and to the left, the east. It's a mechanical room. I'm not sure if the language I would use to describe would mean anything to your ears, but there is my main soul, as it were, is captured in there and could be transported from there to anywhere else you desire. And then the term that we use would be uploaded into any other complex mechanical device, including the
How
shuttle.
large is this device that carries your soul? This phylactery, if you will.
Let me access my records, and I can tell you.
Offering.
I think I actually do have like an actual weight for this, believe it or not.
And that would actually be cool, guys, because we'd have basically a portable Rhodesian sage to tell us what the hell something is.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
When we get a chance, I have some questions for her.
So she, I'll just give you like the actual like scientific sort of thing about it. So in that room, and remember the Upior actually walked into this room and sort of got a bead on it. This is when we're sort of divided into two sort of sections, right? The one section that she's talking about is that there is sorry. Sorry. It's an interface, and it has memory crystals that are inside, and there's 5 of them. And you could, and so in there, she basically tells you that you could interact with me there, but you would have to type on a keyboard. You would have to put queries into a keyboard, and I would respond to you on a screen rather than actually being able to talk to you naturally like I am right now. Right.
Right.
So it's sort of like if I just rewatched this. So like if you remember on the original Alien, whenever they access Mother in Alien, it's all like Mother doesn't talk; she's just like on a screen, right? It's like that.
Is she able to observe her surroundings, or do we have to describe to her what's going on? Right, like
her knowledge is only of the bridge. Like her sensory awareness is only of the bridge.
Into the shuttle, would she have access to the shuttle?
Yeah, she would. So what you would do is you would take one of and she would give you the specific instructions. You would take one of the 5 crystalline rods that are in the memory crystals that are in that interface, and you could punch in a couple of commands, and you would be able to download her into that rod, and then the rod could be transported.
Cool.
Oh.
Well, but when we're in transit, there's no way to access her, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So she's basically like a crystal until we get back to the shuttle.
That's right.
And upload her to the shuttle.
That's right. She's like a program in a device, yeah. You're also getting the impression, if you haven't already, that from these past couple sessions, that the way that they store information is all like crystal rod based, of varying sizes and things like that.
They're obviously Kryptonian.
Yeah.
Yeah, very Fortress of Solitude, yeah.
I have 2 questions for you, Akla Cha.
Ask away.
One question. does that console make drinks? And can I have one while I sit here and ask you my second question, which is, can you tell us how this ship came here and what happened when you crashed?
Nice.
2 questions, one of which is very simple, a yes or no question. The other one, which is much more extensive. Let's answer the first one first, shall we? Yes, this is the Nutrivore 2500. It is a non-fragile workhouse unit of the ubiquitous Nutrivore Corporation. And it can dispense in, actually, this is in the 2000 model, which this is not. It can dispense a 6-inch diameter, 1-inch thick cake of highly nutritious, if slightly unappetizing, protein and carbohydrate matter. In addition,
So
though, the 2500 also adds a Rudishva Aquavit dispenser. So indeed, it does dispense beverages.
May I have one?
Absolutely, on the house, and this hard puck of food just like comes flying out. It comes flying out at you. Yeah.
But is this the
You're
drink?
catching your teeth.
No, and then like it's like one of those old school like 60s 70s coffee dispensers. You know what I mean? It's like a like the cup comes flying down, just like yeah. And
Well, it's great magic to me. I am just about a goblin.
Yeah,
I will take my magic puck and my magic paper cone of pure grain alcohol, and I want to sit down in a chair and ask, what happened? Cha, tell us how the ship came here, and why is Arden Vul here, and what is going on?
Okay,
This
so
is the weirdest place we've ever seen.
I'm going to give you the bullet points, so it's not like just a massive lore dump. But it's
Yeah.
also only bullet points because she's not omniscient, right? She is programmed for a very specific thing, and
Yeah.
she only interacted with certain people.
Sure.
So she's not like Mother in that she ran the ship, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She had a very specific thing. She was like a therapist. She was like an onboard therapist.
Yeah. I think
Troy.
her bullet
Yeah,
points
Counselor
are probably
Troy.
going to be pretty illuminating. I'm not too concerned.
Yeah. So I'm not going to do it in her voice, but the long and short of it is this: the Rudishvans come from the planet Rudish. That's where they come from. And they were the leaders of a hegemonic, multiple system spanning empire that also included the species known as the Varuda, the Kalyani, which she uses the adjective traitorous, and she says it with a lot of disdain and hatred, and the Varumani.
Trolls.
Oh.
Okay.
I think we thought that they might be alien.
And she names those as servitor races in the hegemonic empire. Okay. The beacon crashed into the cliffs on this planet. It was a York-class exploration vessel. The full name of the vessel was the Shining Beacon of Glorious Heaven. Its purpose was exploration of far-flung systems for knowledge and technology and materials and all that sort of good stuff. So it was just naturally attracted to this planet, which they've since learned is called by the locals as Magay, and they crashed into the cliff over 3,000 years ago after a ship malfunction caused it to matter phase continuously when entering Magay's atmosphere. Thus, modules of the ship broke off and solidified at different elevations within the cliff. And I believe I owe major props. I believe it is Ted who actually nailed it on the head with a theory, which was very impressive at the time you did that, Ted.
Thank you. It's that goblin superiority, really. It's natural.
Yeah, I was very impressed. The Rudishva immediately encountered the existing species that was dominant in the halls, the only species that was in the halls at the time, which was the loathsome Heketi, and drove them back while simultaneously attempting to engineer a way to repair the ship and get the hell off this rock. The Rudishvan dominance of the halls after repelling the Heketi lasted for only about 163 years. Very short amount of time. As she said, they were on the verge of a breakthrough of combining deuterium and arcanum, which they found naturally occurring here, to provide the specific kind of fuel which is needed to exit atmosphere and to make warp, FTL jumps. They were just about on the verge of a breakthrough when they were betrayed by the Kalyani, who had allied with the resurgent Heketi down in the very depths of the halls, and using Heketi plague of some sort were able to ambush and overthrow the Rudishva. Only a handful of Rudishans survived. You kind of already know that. The Varuda were almost all slain Their whereabouts are unknown at this time, at least to her. The Kalyani plunged into the Underearth after the betrayal, and a Varumani hero called Vanara led her people to the middle levels of Arden Vul, where they established dominance in a post-Rudishvan environment.
What was the Varumani hero named?
Her name was Vanara, Vanara.
Vanara.
So they basically...
John, that name doesn't ring a bell with us at all, right? Like,
no, you have to hear that name. Yeah, you
okay.
don't know. You don't know any Varumani by name. Akla Cha was left in uninterrupted solitude for approximately 900 years after the betrayal, at which time the Arkantians accessed the bridge, specifically where you are now, and spoke to her. She didn't appreciate their depredations and lust for expansion and power, so she was reticent with the info that they gave her, and they left mostly stymied, although they were able to take a great deal of stuff. And Akla Cha puts it in a way that they stole a whole bunch of stuff, including, she says, some of the most valuable items, which would be the command tablets. One of the two command tablets that the Captain Lael Jor used to access higher functions of the ship.
There's two of them.
And which would be very useful, I should mention, in passing, for operation of the shuttle, should we be able to get it working again. Pardon me if I use the term "we" a little bit preemptively, but again, back to the story.
We like you.
Where am I at here? So the Arkantians held power for about 800 years. But Akla Cha remembers that even though their contact with her had dwindled rapidly after the first discovery of the bridge by the Arkantians, there was a clear point when no Arkantians entered the bridge ever again. And she has a feeling, although she does not know, that something catastrophic must have happened to the Arkantians. And it wasn't until literally just a couple minutes ago where she has finally come into contact with another sentient being, and that would be you.
Wow.
So you could basically gather that her last contact with the Arkantians was right before the war broke out, the Civil War, and then there's you, right? But even when the war broke out, she had already like they had barely ended up showing up. It looks like there was like a surge of excitement and interest in the bridge when they first initially contacted her, and like all this crazy stuff that was in there. And then when they sort of got stymied, both by not understanding the technology and Akla Cha's reticence in explaining the technology to them, that they were like, well, then fuck this place. And they kind of left. You know what I mean?
So can I ask her does she have the capacity to record any of these meetings? Were any of these meetings recorded?
They were not, no. She didn't feel.
And then if I describe the regalia that we think is the Rhodesian technology, does she think that might be the command pad?
Oh, yes, indeed. What you're describing is exactly one of the command tablets. There were two. But it was customary to have redundancy in such matters, so that the captain would have one command tablet and the first officer would have the other. I know that when they took the one command tablet, they were talking about the fact that it would be a instrument of power and authority for their Archon at the time, whose name was Marius Tricotor. As far as the other one goes, I would assume that was the first officer's. I don't know where that command tablet ended up, but I don't know if the Arkantians ever actually managed to ever access the other modules that were in existence. For instance, I know that the first officer, like many of the officers in the bridge, would spend most of their time in the Bastion.
Oh, that place that I didn't want to leave that everybody else did. Got it.
No. This is very useful. This is better. We go here first.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the Bastion. Can you tell us what the Bastion is briefly? Is it just like a hangout spot, or?
Hangout's probably a little bit of too casual of a term, but it is the quarters for the bridge crew.
The residential pod.
No. The residential pod is for officers and the crew members themselves of the lower station. But the Bastion is specifically for the senior staff of the Shining Beacon.
I'm curious. Are you able to? I mean, this is amazing. And he kind of like reaches out. May I? And he tries to like touch her hand or something.
And she just smiles and laughs as your hand kind of passes through, but she doesn't make any joke about being tickled or anything like that.
Yeah, this is really, really weird. Is it possible for you to show us things other than yourself?
This is an observation room.
I'm very curious what some of these things look like. I mean, you mentioned the Veruda, the Galliani, the traders. We don't like them. Can you show us what these things look like? We've seen all sorts of things, but we don't know what they are. Maybe we've seen some of these things.
Oh, certainly. And then like immediately, like the screens that are basically dominating the walls just burst into like imagery, right? Like huge images, and you're like, whoa, what the hell? And it shows like 3 different shots of like these races. So the Veruda are like a bipedal bird-like alien species. The best way to kind of picture them is to think of like Aarakocra, right? You know, those guys from D&D. So they kind of look like that. And the Kalyani are wholly alien, so they're very, very strange. Oh, I described them. I described what the bodies look like in the Bastion aftermath of the battle.
Yeah, we don't know which one is which. Was he one of those long?
Yeah, the sinuous ones that had like the 2 eyes on either side of its head, gills.
Yeah,
right. That whole thing. Yeah. And the Varamani, they show you what looks to be very well, like it looks like the ambassadors you saw in the Goblin Halls. You know, like very tall, bulky, low shelf brow sort of thing. Yeah.
Can I ask her a question? What is the average lifespan of a Varomani?
John, don't know that.
And here's why I'm asking. I'm just trying to get an idea of how many generations of Varomani have descended from the ones that crashed here.
Many.
You know what I'm saying?
Many.
Like,
and
hundreds, right? Like
she doesn't know. She just based on what she knows about the Varamani lifespan. I'm just saying that that would be many, but she's projecting that if you're telling her that the Varamani are still here, that's news to her.
Okay.
Because she doesn't know. She had heard tales when she was dealing with the Arcontians that they were also in contact with the Varamani, and that the Varamani had actually bent the knee to the Arcontian rule whenever Marius Tricotor took control. So at least up until that point, the Varamani were still in existence.
Right. Well, I feel comfortable confirming to her that there are still Varomani that look like what you've just illustrated to us here in the halls of Arden Vul, but I can only imagine that they are potentially as removed from the ones who traveled here and potentially debased than as the goblins, right? Like, I mean, there's no indication that they have any kind of higher culture or society. We know that they run a part of Arden Vul and seem to operate as like some sort of power broker.
I mean, the ones we met seem pretty smart to me.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not smart, Ted. I don't think they're running around with Rhodesian technology.
Oh, I see what you mean.
We've never been down there. For all we know, they could be.
Well, it's
but you said higher culture, and I thought you meant they were, grunting and knuckle draggers. The ones we met seemed rather erudite and sophisticated to me. But I'm just a poor little goblin who hates his own species. So what do I know?
I mean, we all hate your species.
She says that if the Varamani are still in existence, she has no reason to doubt you. Then it shows some of their natural. She's not surprised. Like they were buggers. Yeah, they were tough guys. And I would say that if what you're telling me are the dangers of the halls of Arden Vul are still ever present, that it's very possible that maybe they still do either retain part of their cultural traditions from when they were a deep space race, or that they still have access to either Rhodesian technology, or more importantly, perhaps Rhodesian knowledge in the form of one of the survivors, perhaps?
They did react really weird when was it Cheek that mentioned Rhodesian to them, or David? Upior, somebody, when we met them, somebody mentioned like the Rhodesian language to them. Maybe it was Upior. Yeah. They didn't react as if they'd never heard of that. They knew exactly what he was talking about, and they were not happy we were talking about it, I think.
I might be wrong too, but I believe that you guys actually came across an example of the Varamani language, and I described it as like a debased form of glyphic.
That does sound very familiar. Yeah.
I can't remember the circumstances, but yeah.
Is it on the passes or something like that? Because we have a set of troll lift passes.
Maybe that's what it was. I think that might be what it was.
Something like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But when we met those two in the Beastman territory, they were not letting on everything they knew, but they the stuff we said to them. They didn't like the Touristus mask, and they certainly didn't like that we were talking about Rhodesian. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they had a survivor. That would be freaking awesome if we could find one.
So she
I'm
tells
very
you
excited
that
to get all this information. By the way, this is super cool.
she's very open in telling you that she doesn't think that you're divulging everything. That you're obfuscating just a little bit with the questions that she asked, but she still thinks that you are cut from a different cloth than the Archonte that she's dealt with in the past. And she doesn't sense any falsehood in you whenever you describe your efforts to reactivate the shuttle. And she's being like very open about this. She's got no sort of mask or anything like that. She's just she's like, so I kind of, she thinks that her best chance of seeing her own desires happen is to ally herself with you. Should you wish to have her, she would be able to provide you with much information. And she kind of smiles at you with like a little like paternal sort of condescending, patronizing sort of thing. And I think that I would be able to translate many of the uses of the technological devices that you may encounter in your quest to activate this shuttle, and ease your burden of understanding.
There's two questions right off the bat that I have for that. Would you be able to explain to us how to actually convert the Arcanum into the fuel if we showed you the formula? That's kind of one thing that we're unsure how to use the technology on to create the fuel that the shuttle requires.
She thinks about it. You can see like she's processing it, and she says that she's aware of the principles. She's aware of the machines in the hangar bay that would be needed to do it and how to operate them, but she's not aware of the breakthrough itself. She just knew that a breakthrough was imminent when the betrayal happened.
Though. We have that on a crystal.
You do, yes.
Yeah.
Does she have a thing that a slot that we can upload that crystal to?
She does, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can we do that, guys? Are you okay with that?
I think we left it in the machine so that we could look at it again.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I mean, we need it all back in the same place anyway, right?
Yeah. But here's what I'm wondering, milady. You said we could move your soul to the ship. Could we move your soul if we found the command tablet? Could we put you into that so that you could go around with us and explain things to us on the tablet?
Unfortunately, the tablet does not have that functioning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there some other way we could make you portable besides the ship, so that you could go like to the Bastion with us, for example, or whatever?
Well, here's what I'm wondering. Like, I don't know if we can communicate, but you say that you can obviously see us right now, right?
I can.
So there's something that you use to see. Could we take your eyes? I mean, we're taking your soul. Can we take some of your eyes with us, and we could point them at things, and or even leave them sometimes? I'm sure you'd probably like to see some of the wonders that we've seen at Arden Vul.
I would. That is unfortunately not possible. But to answer Mort's question and to answer yours as well, there are certain devices which have portable screens, and if those screens also have data slots, you can insert that crystal into one of those slots, and you should be able to interact with me in much the same way that you would have to interact with me in my storage unit in the other room.
If we put the crystal like inside Cheek, could you possess him and speak through his mouth?
I'm afraid they required
I do
slots.
not consent to this.
Your biological makeup is not.
And then maybe we want to keep on trucking. I described to her the security robots that we all know what they are, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I tell her that one of the key cards that we have found, we're able to get us access past it. Can you, and we lay out all the key cards that we found, can you indicate which ones will work against or with these robots so that we're not attacked?
Well, we assume it.
She doesn't even look at them, and she says none of them work. Those are access keys. They are only meant to provide access through certain doors at certain levels of clearance.
Oh,
I see you have one of the captains.
One of the robots was guarding a door, and when Mort entered, he showed the access card to the robot, and it didn't seem to want to attack him.
Oh yes, well, they're based upon the level of security clearance that the card indicates. The battle robots will not attack. It overrides their programming too.
But they don't turn them off.
Is there a way to turn them off, or is there a way to get them to follow orders?
Oh, indeed, yes, the command tablet.
Okay.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
Cheek, I wish you'd said something about the Bastion sooner. We really should have gone there first, Cheek. Come on.
All right.
Do you want to see some of the violence you were talking about before?
Stick around. Can you activate your Find My Command Tablet app and ping it for us?
She says, why don't you sit back and relax at one of these tables, enjoy what the Nutrivore has to offer, and we'll take a quick break and then we'll rejoin with this conversation after we get back.
Awesome.
We will be right back. All right, we are back. Bladders empty, beers full. So Aklacha has offered you her services and knowledge in return for a promise to bring her with you aboard the shuttle should you manage to activate it. And it appears that you guys have accepted that deal. Is that correct?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. She's delightful.
Should we just take her to the shuttle now? That's kind of like a question, right? Should take her to the shuttle now?
I think, well, first of all, how did the puck and the alcohol taste?
Not great.
Not great. Okay. Second of all, I think we should leave her here. We go to the Bastion and then come back because it'll be easier for her to explain how the command tablet works if she's still a ghost, right? Than if we're trying to put her into the computer and have to type because none of us know how to type. So that would be my thinking, is it'll be easier for us to communicate with her to get everything worked out while she's still a ghost and we can come back here.
So so as far as your checklist goes, you need the command tablet, right? The tablet of the beacon. And then the other major thing that you need, partially answered with the fact that you have Aklacha, is you needed knowledge of like shuttle operations, knowledge of like the scientific principles behind the FTL jump and all that sort of stuff, which appears that you've got that at least ready to go. But the other thing that you need is you need a drive rod.
Yeah. Well, we need the astrogation crystals, which we do not have.
You took them.
I did pick up some.
Oh, did you get those?
Yeah.
They were
on
the bridge. Yeah.
They were on the bridge. They were. I remember now. So we need the command tablet, the crystals, the deuterium, and we have to run that process.
I mean,
to make the fuel, so we do the drive rod. That's the big thing. Yeah.
I mean, I would think that. I mean, just for safety's sake, right? Like sometimes things, bad happen when we leave a place or whatever. No. I think, bird in the hand, right? I think that if we're here with her now and we have the opportunity to take her with us, I think that we should, because really, I mean, if it turns out we have to come back, we'd have to come back anyway. But if it turns out that we don't have to come back, then we've got her with us and we're ready.
Exactly.
All right.
Can we just flat out ask her, are there any aspects of this area that we're in that we need to know about for the mission to launch the shuttle?
She questions you about, like, do you have astrogation crystals? And you say yes.
I show her the ones that I have. I'll show her the canisters that I got from, what's his name? Vec?
Trivlock, or no, not Trivlock. That was the dead guy. Prek File.
The engineer.
Prek something.
Prek File?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, because I show her the little, canisters that I got from him. And okay. I think, we need, and I'll show her the astrogation crystals. It says like we need to go to an engine room. I don't think we've found that yet to find a drive rod.
The engine room is one of the modules that did survive the initial crash and phase back into existence. It is quite likely that that should you take advantage of the teleportation network, that you should be able to transport right there. I do not know the condition or the level of safety in the engine room, for I do not know where it exactly ended up or which parts of Arden Vul it actually adjoins. She also kind of reiterates, you'll need a drive rod. You'll need a command tablet for any higher functions, and in order to deactivate the battle droid, you'll need that. And then, but she also has a great. She desires to know she's trying to put this delicately, like for people that are native to this planet and who have no real knowledge of the technological capabilities of the Rudishva, other than the sense of wonder of leaving this planet itself, which I don't even know if you can barely comprehend what that actually means. Why is it that you seek why do you seek to enable faster than light travel, interstellar travel, on this what is normally would be an atmospheric vessel?
It's the coolest thing I've ever heard of in my life, and I don't understand half of it.
Do you have an intended destination? Are there legends in your cultures of what lies beyond the stars, what lies beyond your skies at night?
I tell her all about the World Tree and Midgard and all the other things that I don't know anything really about.
I can't speak to those,
about how Thoth is the god of knowledge, and just to go out and see it, like it's amazing.
One thing that you should know about humanity, and I guess goblins too, is that the experience of finding the unknown is its own draw for us.
As it was with the Rudishva. In fact, that is the entire foundation of the creation of this vessel at the time. So I can appreciate that very well. Mm-hmm. Shall we embark upon this journey to what you may certainly call the final frontier?
Explore some strange new worlds, perhaps? That sounds cool.
I mean, I would like to go to a galaxy far, far away. That sounds good. So yeah, let's do this.
Okay.
Next, we're going to play D6 Star Wars.
So what do you do?
All right.
Well, let's flex my Jedi powers. Yeah. So we should download. Okay. So if we copy her onto a crystal, is it a copy or is it her? Is it her?
It's her.
Oh, so if you're on the crystal, you're not here.
That's correct. Yeah. And so she shows some reticence in the way she speaks to that, because that's very much like Blade Runner 2049. It's like, that's like, she's in a fragile state then if she's on that crystal, right? She's putting her existence in your hands,
Yeah, it makes you think again about having a man capable of violence on your side, if such were to be needed.
Well, I think it was not a wise thing, a wise move on your part, Wolford, to bring that up again. For indeed, it does put that in the forefront of my mind.
Well, how else could we keep you safe?
Well, I'm perfectly safe right here. Should I start to question whether or not we should do this? You seem very capable yourself, but again, you are people of violence.
Well, if you want to get out of here, your best bet is to be with a group who could keep you safe while we get you from here to there.
Fuck it, let's do it.
What if we took her? What if we took her straight to the shuttle,
right,
and put her in the shuttle without any delay?
Sense. Yeah,
we could backtrack to the shuttle easily enough, we think. So maybe we should
get by the fire trap, though, right?
We would have to be careful of the fire trap. And can we just pause this for a second, guys?
Sure.
I just need this. Okay.
Another quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back again. All right. So off camera, Matt had talked about, Matt and Mike had talked about possibly using, this is a good place to actually rest, as it seems very quiet and peaceful and not a lot going on. Akla Cha says that she has not been disturbed in over 900 years, and so she basically agrees. However, she just wants to point out, now that she's allied with you, that she doesn't know how far that you've actually explored the bridge itself, but as she reminds you, she used to have a frequent contact with the ancient Arcantians. So at some point, they were able to access this place. And as far as she knows, because they never brought it up, they never mentioned that they had mastered how to use the teleporters.
Right. But there was a collapsed tunnel leading into the bridge, which is my guess. That's, remember there we found the barricade, like the benches were knocked over in the hallway there.
More importantly, though, Ted, there was this stone Arcantian door directly outside
stone
the
doors.
teleporter.
That's right.
Yeah.
The one that I wanted to open.
Right.
Forgot about the stone door. I should mark that on the map.
She just wants to make you aware that even though she would deem it safe because no one's contacted her in almost a millennium, that the Arcantians certainly had found access to here.
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah. Which was my thing.
Can I ask her if she has any understanding of like when the last time it was accessed? If she was in hibernation mode or whatever, does the bridge record that kind of thing?
Yeah, she just knows in her programming that it was what she said like 900 years ago.
So no one but us has been here. No ghosts, no
Nothing.
zombies,
Nothing.
giant spiders. All right,
the dust tracks that too. You know what I mean? Like it was so thick with dust. Yeah,
I think we can risk it, guys.
Yeah, and there's also like in addition to the stone door, there was that one door to the east, right? That we didn't.
That's true. We didn't
explore as well. I mean, we can also we'd still have Shrieker. So if we do want to rest, then Lisbeth could cast alarm in that room with the stone door and the entrance, so that we'd be aware if something were to come.
Okay, so let's not do it. Let's not do it step by step. Let's just sum it up. So you're agreeing that you're going to rest here, right? Which room do you want to rest in?
I think her room with the food and the drink
and then do you plan to download her onto a crystal when you wake up in the morning?
Right away. I think we do that in the morning, John, so that we can stay up and just chat with her like throughout the night.
Okay, cool. So you're gonna rest.
Perhaps you can do a little nightclub act for us. You know,
you are indeed correct that nothing is going to disturb you. You can get a good night's rest.
Can Barrios level up?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I believe you told me that Barrios was going to be going up to 5th level, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, Barrios.
So what is he? Is he a D8? Is that what Rangers are?
Yes.
Okay. So I will roll some hit points for good old loyal Barrios. And I rolled a 5, and he has a con modifier of +1, so he gets +6 hit points, which puts him at 25.
Wow.
Very nice. And his base tracking goes up to 60%.
Sweet.
Nothing else changed for him, though.
Okay. Rock and roll, baby.
None of you guys are leveling up. Okay. So that's it for leveling up, right? Lothar, are you just going to keep the same spells? And Elizabeth?
Yeah, I'll just restock the same spells.
Elizabeth,
Sorry, go ahead, Matt. Light, cure light wounds, silence 15 foot, hold person, cure disease, and cure serious wounds.
Got it.
She will. She still has a casting of cure light wounds, and Wolford's still down a bit, so she would cast that before she goes to bed.
1d6 + 1. Go ahead.
Yeah,
and everyone would also gain 1 hit point from a good night's rest if you're down.
Rolled a 3, so that's 4, 5 total.
Okay.
24, which is great. And yeah, let's see. The only change I think we'll do is in her level 3s. Her 4s are pretty good. Her level 5 will change though, because I don't think we need protection from animals right away. Level 5, based on those weird cave beavers, maybe transmute rock to mud might be.
I like it.
Okay, so you're switching that out from what did you have before?
Protection from plants and animals.
Okay, cool.
That's how we got past the turtle.
That was very effective.
So she's got entangle, speak with animals, umbral ashes, bark skin, obscuring mist, cure light wounds, hold animal, protection from poison, cure serious wounds, dispel magic, and transmute rock to mud.
She is such a beast, man.
This is her story. We're just along for the ride.
Exactly. All right, cool. Awesome. So that's great. She, by the way, Elizabeth, is distinctly uncomfortable in any of this newfangled futuristic architecture. Even more so. She's always uncomfortable when she's in Arden Vul, pretty much, but even more so in
to be fair. Done.
Yeah.
I have another question for Akla Cha, actually.
One second, Ted. For the food, you don't have to mark off a ration because you do have the Nutrivore 2500. And if food is an issue with you guys, if it's something that you're worried about, you have an almost inexhaustible supply right here if you want to stock up. Like this can basically...
Yeah, Barrios will stock up.
Akla Cha basically tells you that this unit can basically dispense about 500 cakes on a single lesser power supply, which is what it's on right now. And I would say that the cakes are the same as rations. So whatever I have for like, what do I have? Like 2 slots for 7 rations or something like that. I can't remember what I have, but if you just call them. She also tells you a little interesting story that the Arcontians, whenever they were dealing with her, she did tell them about this machine, and that the Arcontians did take to them, and so they became known as Arden Vul cakes, is what they became known as, because the ancient Arcontians actually did have these like dispensed quite frequently and would sell them to other denizens in the halls.
Interesting.
So they're actually more associated with Arcontians than they are with Rudishva, right? Like the Arcontians are basically like these, we figured this out, But as part of like your deal, she's like, you don't have to put money in the slot. You can just take as many as you want. Yeah.
Are there Rhodesian quarters?
Yeah, exactly.
I do have a question for her though, because we're hanging out resting. Might as well try it. I'm guessing the answer here is going to be a no. Mm-hmm. But if I show her a magic item, such as a magic shield, can she tell us anything about magic? Can she detect it? Can she understand it at all? Or is it completely alien to her?
It's completely alien to her. However, she does understand the concept of magic, but it bewilders her because it doesn't, she basics, everything's based on physics. So she doesn't understand it. However, during the time at the latter years of the Rudishva dominance in the halls, when they were actively seeking the breakthrough that they almost achieved before the ambush, that is also when, as she told you, that they some of the more high-minded Rudishva were experimenting, and she had heard from some of them that they had found a substance called arcanum that they had done a lot of research on, and that some of the higher level Rudishva started to understand what magic was all about and was able to harness that technology, harness magic in a rudimentary form, heightened by their work with the Kalyani, who was one of the servitor races. The Kalyani, who have psionic abilities, and she's very careful about this, but she's very open about saying this, is that they had the ability to use psionic powers, seemed to gravitate more towards the magic lore than the Rudishva did. So the Rudishva were actually mining the Kalyani for information, and the Kalyani had a fierce sort of drive to understand what the magic was all about. And so a lot of the breakthrough theories that came about with the combination of arcanum with typical elements was due to Kalyani thought and research.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you this. She also suspects, and it's just a suspicion, that she thinks that the experiments for extending the life of the Rudishva had magic as an element, but it's so beyond her ken, she can't make any further guesses about what that would entail.
Yeah.
Also, look, she gave us hints about what Melicorius's original Rudishva name would be. Over the evening, could she give us clues about the other ones? Nacalorus, Isocrates.
Yes. Do any of you guys have a page number where there was 2 places where you've heard those names? Can you give me a page number for one of them? Because I could give you the info.
We found the names as the on the chalkboard.
Yeah, they're very recent.
The chalkboard. Okay, that's.
And they were names we recognized from the Rhodesian Codex, but the chalkboard was the most recent place we ran across them.
Okay, give me a sec. Sorry. Where is this? 6. Right. Okay. So, Melicorius. So if you list off like the Arcontian names, she can give you the actual Rudishva names. So Melok Rai, she tells you. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So it's Salicorius.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go down the list. Kralicaris is Kralik Var. Each of these has like a hyphen in between the 2 main names. Kralik Var.
Okay.
Some kind of actor or worse, right? That was the whole thing. If you give if you tell them the Arcontian notes that were on the chalkboard, she kind of
She's like, oh yeah, he was an idiot.
Yeah,
Like
she laughs, but she can confirm that it's a rudimentary understanding of what they are. But in essence, the Archontians got them. It's pretty much true. Salaricus was Salor Kai, and that Salor Kai is PSALOR-KI.
PSALOR-KI.
Had very strange interests in biology. I would use the term vivisectionist if that makes any sense to you. At strange predilections. I believe that his interest was superseded by other more perverse desires, but don't quote me on that. Ravitoris was Rave-Tor, REIV-TOR, and constantly obsessed with underwater species. Piscine, that's what he was mostly interested in. Isocrates, she laughs at that the Archontianization of it, but she says, no, not Isocrates, it's Isoc-Crix. ISOK-CRIX. Very strong warrior. But Isoc-Crix fell out with Melok Rai, another warrior. They both sort of pushed against the established hegemony dominating the halls under the captaincy of Liv-Tor. And lastly, we have Nakaloris is Naik Lir, NAIK-LIR. No one knows what became of Naik Lir, although the last, it was known that he was a servant of Melok Rai.
Okay. Does anybody remember what session it was that David electrocuted himself on that tomb in the wall?
That was like
that had a name like one of those, didn't it?
Late teens, early 20s.
That was right after he defeated the Plumthorn gang, right?
He flew across to look at the like tomb or symbols or something. And he touched it.
Yeah.
Just wondering if the name on that door. Oh, here we go. Artax Riss. Does she know the name Artax Riss?
Let me see.
Because I've been hoping this was a Rhodesian tomb. It's because it's got an alien glyph in the center, and then underneath it said in Archontian, Artax Riss does not wish to be disturbed.
She says,
Artax Riss?
She says, "Oh, that name. Where did you hear that name?" Yes, I remember Artax Riss. He was he and Salor Kai were both of the same mind regarding experimentation with the biologies of sentient creatures. I do know that. At least from what the other Rudishra had told me, or at least in my presence, that they had a falling out of some sort. And Artax Riss actually went off on his own into the halls and was never heard from again.
Ah.
Well, we tell her that he's in a tomb or something sealed up in the chasm. Hey, does she know what the chasm's all about?
She is... yes, well...
Sorry, John.
I'm trying to think.
Excited little goblin here asking questions late
yeah,
into the night.
It's tough for me because it's like she was there during all this time, but it's like her knowledge is limited.
Sure.
Would she know? I think if the question is, does it have anything to do with the Shining Beacon's crash? The answer is no. The chasm.
Okay, that's helpful.
The chasm pre-existed. The reason that the Rudishva actually came into contact with the Heketi was in large part due to the access that the chasm provided for both races, for both species to kind of come into contact with each other, But the Heketi are anathema to all living things. At least that's the
official edition.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was a supposition at the Rhodesian because
the chasm was there first, which super weird for how some of the Archontian rooms feel like they got busted into by the chasm.
Yeah, I'll say as John
are...
that when Rick Barton was sort of asked about that, he said that just sometimes he slipped up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think that sometimes you just don't build a room right and a piece falls out. You know, I can see that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my other theory was that
crumbles and goes a little farther. Yeah,
they were Heketi tunnels that the Archontians archontized, came in and finished up the walls and took them over, kind of thing. But anyway,
there might be. I would posit this too, like a more
so that we can go do other stuff.
Yeah, good. What do you want to do?
Go to bed.
Yeah, we go to bed.
Yeah,
that's already done. So if there's anything else you want to learn from her,
okay,
let me know. But
so we're gonna wait on crystallizing her, right? Because of the potential danger, or are we gonna do it now and take her to the ship?
I think we do it now and take her with us.
Okay, let's do it. Take her to the ship.
Okay, it is now the 20th of Gelenios. It is a new day.
Wow, jeez.
Okay, so I'll cut to the chase. She is going to give you very clear instructions about how to do this to her, right? So that you don't screw it up. So she gives you verbal instructions, tells you to go to that room, and then she's like, "You're going to type in these commands." She gets the you divulge, of course, Wolford, that you have this magical helm that allows you to comprehend, right? Because it's dependent upon you being able to read glyphic on keyboards, right?
Yeah, and in fact, he's going to write down what she says. His background is a map maker. He sees this as kind of a map to how to do this, right? Okay. So he's going to take good notes about how to do this.
Cool.
If we ever have to do it again.
So she explains what inputs you're going to put into the keyboard to allow this to happen, and assuming you follow the instructions exactly, nothing untoward happens. And then once she is downloaded on the crystal, and the crystal is in the machine, in the memory banks, like it comes like unprompted up on the screen on the main interface terminal in that room. It's like, hello, it's me, Aklacha. Don't be frightened. I'm just I'm writing to you in the written language, but and it comes out on the screen in Archontian for everyone's ease.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we can take the crystal out of the machine and carry it, and we can head back to the shuttle.
Yes, and that was one thing that you had asked too, Ted, the other night. So she warned you that when you take out the crystal, you will not be able to contact me until the crystal is reinserted into the device that allows me to communicate with you again. She explains to you that any of the new coder devices can allow this, right? And you're already familiar with the new coder devices, so you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The iPads, right? Yeah.
Got it. That's cool. So if for some reason we can't get her in the ship, we could get her into a new coder and at least be able to talk to her.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has limited functionality on those, though. She doesn't have access to a lot of like ship systems and from portable mobile new coders, Yeah.
All right. Okay. Who's going to carry? I can carry. If anybody else does, I might drop some of this other stuff.
I have plenty of slots available.
Yeah, you've already got
do it?
astrogation crystals and fuel, so we should split this up.
Yeah, go ahead, Lothal. You've got it.
All right. Is it one slot, John?
One slot for the rod, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For the crystal, you mean?
Crystal, yeah. It's a crystal rod. Yeah.
Crystal. Oh, okay. All right. So then we should be able to just, from our maps, do a straight shot back to the shuttle. We go up to the bridge level. We go to the teleporter that took us to the bastion. We go to the bastion and take the teleporter that goes to the hangar. And we should be good. And we've all got badges now, or a bunch of us have badges. We don't actually all have them. Like, I don't think Elizabeth and...
well, we have an extra one. I mean, because you had one already.
I had one, and we found 4, right?
Right.
So but there's 6 of us, technically. I mean, I know we've got David and an NPC shield, but there's actually 6 of us.
Yeah. Well, you had one already, so we have a total of 5, right? So
I guess if David's in the NPC shield, we're fine.
Okay.
Well, he would have his with him. Whatever.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So you're gonna teleport back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you use the gravity shaft to go back up to the top of the bridge.
Yes.
You exit back out, go past the benches, and cross into the chalkboard room and into the teleporter. Just double checking you don't want to do any more exploration here for the nonce. You want to go teleport back, right?
dangle the catnip in front of Matt.
We agreed. We're putting her in the ship before something happens to the crystal.
Well, what if this is a shortcut right here to the east? We could just
not a shortcut. That fucking teleport system, dude. It's not a shortcut.
All right.
Okay, so
but look, there's a door right there.
I know. I wanted to go through it earlier.
One at a time, you demolecularize in the teleporter, and you go back to the bastion. Now, when you teleport back, you are still so you're in that sort of three-way. You come out of the one that had the force field, right?
Yeah.
You have to deactivate that force field and step back out into the thing, and you know that the fire trap is right there. So what do you?
Well, right there to the right, not right in the center of the cruciform shape.
That's right. So you don't actually have to engage with the trap if you don't want to move into the bastion proper. If you just want to cross across the hallway and right into the next teleporter, you can. Is that what the plan is?
Yeah, we'll come back to this.
Yeah.
Okay. So you hop into the southern teleporter, which clearly says Hangar Bay, and you teleport back to there.
Now we have to worry about the robot.
Let me do a little bit of timekeeping here. So I think the explanation of how to download her would probably take realistically 2 turns minimum, I think.
Yeah.
Then you do it, and then I'll just do another turn for all this teleporting. Okay, so it's 8:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And you now are back in the Hangar Bay. Flip between maps here.
Or in the hall that in the hall that leads to the Hangar Bay.
Correct. So yeah, okay. Where is that map? There it is.
That's on the
got it.
Trials of Arden map. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Sorry, audience. I've been flipping around a lot of maps. Okay. All right. So you're now in that hallway that is to the north of the Hangar Bay. You know that the from viewing the view screens in the bridge that you know that the robot is nestled in its little technological, machinery pile. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it is still an issue, although Mort has the pass.
So Mort will hold out that orange card. He'll kind of stick his arm out the door.
Okay.
Gotta wave it around a little bit.
Okay. The robot activates.
Yeah.
Scan and assistance. Scan and assist, and then it just sort of hovers and watches you.
All right. And so he'll step out and sort of try to be in front of the robot while somebody else steps out with their card, and let's hope that this works.
Well, I guess we should make it clear that Barrios is going to stay back in that hall because he's the one of us that doesn't have a pass.
How come
everybody else?
How come everybody has a pass and Barrios doesn't?
Huh? Because she is a level 7 druid who could kill us all if she wanted to.
So
he is the head of a sheep. I think that's pretty cool.
Who is holding out a pass, and what is the pass? What color or material is the pass?
All right, so Mort has his orange pass. Barrios will stay hidden.
Okay.
Wolford has the multicolored personal defense array card.
Who does?
How did we get past this thing on the way through here?
What's that?
Use the rug.
Yeah,
use the teleport rug.
We could do that again if we want to just skip the whole pass nonsense.
Oh, it'll be good to know if it works.
That's kind of what I thought.
I asked Akla Cha which passes would get us by the security robots, and she couldn't tell us that.
She if she didn't, she would have. Yeah. So the ones that you have. Well, what do you have?
I have the yellow that was originally described as gold.
And the orange that Mort has, right? Is there any other?
Yeah, silver, sky blue, yellow, multicolored, orange.
Okay, so she explains to you that the every one of those is at a high enough security level that that the droid will stand down. However, she sort of laughs at when Wolford produces the multicolored other strange looking one. It says no, that's not an access pass. That allows the operator to access the control panel for the defense array.
What is a defense array?
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, mass.
Yeah, what can I do with that?
Massive guns that are remotely controlled to basically fire upon anyone giving it certain conditions. Nothing.
Where are those guns? What's a gun, Precious?
Well, let me tell you about recent developments. She tells you that there are There's a personal defense array. Let's see. Would she know that? I don't think she would. Let's see.
That's
that
too
was
bad.
on level. That one, yeah.
What level, John? Was it? So it's not
she honestly, I'm not lying to you. I'm just going by what she would know. She doesn't know where any current point defense array. I knew it was point, not personal. Point defense arrays actually are currently, but it was commonly used by Rudishva in order to monitor, sensitive areas and stuff like that without the need to actually post guards, physical guards there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there a way to access that defense array from the bridge?
There is, yes. Yeah, if you have the command tablet.
Command tablet.
At the security station.
Would they have put point defenses on the surface?
And not on top of the cliff?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. It's all down here somewhere.
Yeah. So the Rudish, she explains too that the Rudishva, when they did crash, there was no attempt to breach the surface. All the phased matter of the ship was underground.
Oh, I mean, if we're like back in time, like chatting with her all about this stuff a little bit, he would describe the story that he heard of Mort almost getting killed by these things in the hallway that kind of exploded. And he asked if that sounds to her like these point defense array things.
No, but equally as effective and a little bit more dangerous because it's so hard to detect. But those are simply oh God, John's not coming up with the actual name. What do you call those, like sticky mines that you put on
limpet mines?
What are they called?
Sticky mines? They're called limpet mines.
Limpet mines, yeah.
Or are you thinking like claymores?
I don't know, but yeah, it is what you guys thought they were. They're like
stuff that kills you if you get close to it.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But does the card turn those off? That multicolored card, does that turn those off or something?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
So we basically have
what you want, Ted. You still got to be careful.
I know. We don't actually. So what you're saying though is that the multicolored card will not prevent the robot from attacking?
That's correct. That multicolored card is an operator's card for the console dedicated to a point defense array. It has nothing to do with door access or, you know what I mean? It's purely for the operation of point defense arrays.
Okay. Well, I did bad.
Okay. So here's an orange. I'll go back in the hallway with Barrios. Here's an orange card. Go take the crystal in there since you're no, you're not carrying it. Mike's carrying it.
Mike is.
But I need him though, so that he can tell me how to.
Oh yeah, you do. Okay, so I'll give him my card and I'll wait with Barrios and we'll guard the teleporter area.
And then, okay, so who's going into the shuttle to upload Aklacha?
I am, because I actually have the rod.
Okay.
And Wolford will go with him to keep him safe
and read things.
Okay, and obviously bearing cards out, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll assume then that Aklacha basically told you how to do this, prior to downloading her onto the crystal. So you make your way out into the thing. The droid basically just looks at you. It doesn't bother scanning because it immediately sees the card, and just sort of like floats in the air, just sort of hovering and watching as you enter into the main shuttle, the one that has all the the dragon markings on it and everything. Mm-hmm. And this is apparently Loab 91, I believe is what it's called. Yeah. And I can't remember what Loab actually stands for, but whatever. Okay. And you go into that
orbital altitude vehicle, low orbit.
Low, not orbit.
Vehicle.
It's because it's an atmospheric. I think it's atmospheric vehicle. Low. Yeah. I don't know, whatever. Low occupancy? Might be low occupancy. So you go into that part of the middle of the room, Mike, Lothar, where they had retrofitted engineering. There's all those new parts in there. But in one of the original places where there was astrogation, actually that would be new, I guess. Whatever. There's a slot where you put it in, and it basically uploads her into it. So she appears on monitors, like one of the monitors there. And says, "Oh, well done. Thank you so much."
So I'm going to take this off my inventory then, right, John? Because we've accomplished this.
Yes, that has now been inserted. So she this is all popping up on the screen, but she says, assessing the systems now, it looks like they've done a marvelous job in preparing the ship as much as they possibly could have. Interesting retrofit work here. Probably not stable in the long term, but definitely as long as we have the proper fuel and materials, this should, I deem it space worthy.
And can we now upload in this console the engineer who's talking about the actual process of creating the fuel, and then she can decipher that for us?
Like the copy of the message.
Take the crystal out of the video thing.
Yeah, you could basically, yeah.
And Matt, you should upload the astrogation crystals too, so you don't have to carry them either.
Yeah. He's going to dump the navigation crystals here, as well as that satchel that has the
fuel.
That fuel stuff.
The ingredients.
Deuterium. Yeah.
Okay.
What's it called? Deuterium. Blah, blah, blah,
Deuterium 3. Or deuterium helium 3, and then there was arcanum gas or something in the other one, right? Or arcanum liquid.
Okay, so did you want to, so two different things. The astrogation crystal can definitely, do you want to insert that into the astrogation station here?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
man.
Absolutely. Okay. I think we got a blank one, and I think we got one that like seemed like it was labeled their home planet.
Okay, so there's like a I don't think we had determined like what the one that actually had the system on it was, right? But if you insert like the labeled one currently, a holographic image basically kind of so you insert it into the console. There's a single chair there for an astrogator, and it basically shoots up a projection, like a light comes up from a console and forms like a 3-dimensional picture of a star system, and it's incredibly beautiful to your eyes, right? Like it has the same sort of coloring as Akla did, but it's like these spinning orbs that are in orbit around each other with a sun in the center, and it's it's just like it's like an orrery, right? Like the closest you could put to it that you may have seen would be like an orrery, but it's just absolutely magnificent to your eyes, and your jaws sort of drop, and as you sort of circle around it, you can see that you can, and Aqua can also sort of tell you this through the screen, that if you move your hands in certain directions, that you can actually manipulate the thing. So you can actually turn the system around, sort of look at it in 3 dimensions. And if you kind of touch your hand onto one of the orbs, it'll actually give you like a full breakdown of its, suitability of life and atmosphere and pressure and all that sort of stuff. It kind of like rolls through. I don't personally have any sort of specific thing for this system. You know what I mean?
Can she tell us how long the journey? Anyway. Can she tell us how long the journey to Rhodesia would be?
I personally don't know either. It would be.
I just want to make sure that we have enough food on the ship to not die in the cold. Like
I could tell you this: if you wanted to go to Rhodesia, like the actual planet Rhodesia, that is multiple jumps away, and that this shuttle is not capable of it.
Oh, so what was their plan then to get home? Because that's bad.
Well, the plan was to jump their colonies or something.
Correct. Yeah. To jump to a one jump segment away, which would have like an inhabited planet that would have the capabilities to either offload onto a more more capable interstellar vessel, or to fuel up with more something that's more appropriate for multiple jumps.
Yeah, like space station or something. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I think that this would all kind of make sense to him, like because he knows maps. He does. Map making was kind of what he did.
So there'd be dragons.
This would be much more advanced than what he was used to, but still the basics would kind of be there, right? Like he couldn't spin things around in 3D, but he gets the idea.
And she's explaining the basics to you, like this is a planet, like believe it or not, you're actually on one of these balls. You know what I mean?
I always knew it was about the balls.
She tells you about what stars are. They're not actually like, gods or anything like that, That gives you kind of a rudimentary sort of background. But mostly what she focuses on, the fact is the mechanical operation of the astrogation station. Like this is what you need to do in order to set a course. And she also tells you what you need to do to write an empty astrogation crystal with information. she says, of course, you have no personal information, but I do. So if there is, if you would like me to make suggestions about where to go, I could certainly provide that to you. She can. John cannot right now, but she certainly can.
Right. somewhere where we can really do some cool exploration and maybe come back with good stories to tell. And
she has a number of potential places. As far as the deuterium Arcanum mix for FTL, that has to be done outside the shuttle. She tells you specifically in the centrifugal, the centrifuges on the eastern side of the bay.
Oh yeah, you saw those last.
That is a very complicated process. She has processed what Feck Pryal has written in that like downloadable attachment that was in his message, and she thinks she can grasp exactly what is needed, but she will require you to manipulate very, very fragile things with very, very fine measurements to her precise specifications, or else things could go very, very topsy-turvy.
But we can still drop off the cells here. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. He'll leave those in the shuttle.
In the shuttle. Enough. Okay, cool. All right. That's fine.
So they're safer.
Okay, so she's uploaded. Why don't we just take our second break real quick and we'll finish this off. We will be right back. Okay, we're back. Bladders empty, beers full. I was right. It's a low occupancy atmospheric vehicle, so it's low F291. When Aquacha is able to kind of assess what the status of the vehicle is, she is also able to relate to you that the markings that were painted on the shuttle were painted by Rudishva, and it's specifically attempting to resemble a creature from Rudishva mythology known as the Chamundi, which is very similar to like a similar to like an Asian dragon in Rudishva mythology.
Cool. That is cool. Real quick, John, if we could ask her one more question before we leave the shuttle. Does she know anything about the obsidian doors?
The obsidian gates. Yes, she does know. Foul things created by the Heketi.
Okay.
The Arcantians asked me about them, and there was no known way to penetrate them. That neither the Arcantians nor the Rudishva were able to find a way that she is knowledgeable about. However, what things she did not reveal to the Arcantians, who were only able to approach her from one side, is that the other side was very well developed by the Rudishva because they had access through the teleporters. And in the years when they were attempting to establish their dominance in the halls for their short period of time, for that 163 years that she told you about, when they had given up hope in being able to escape, they determined to basically build structures here to make a permanent dwelling. They created what was called the Midnight Road beyond the Obsidian Gates, which was a large, broad, circular path through a certain level where Rudishva had made new construction and new dwellings, all which lay behind the Obsidian Gates, full of many wondrous treasures and forgotten secrets.
Man,
and this was like territory that she claimed that they claimed from the Hekati.
And carved new themselves. Yes, yeah.
So, are the obsidian doors? If we describe the ones we saw that we think are the ones, is that right? Or have we never actually found the real obsidian doors?
You have never found the real ones. When you describe the ones that you found, she said those are pale imitations, probably inspired by the Obsidian Gates, but built by Arcantians.
Yeah, I think we've seen the one in Goblin Town and the one by the back door.
Yeah, and I think we all thought that they probably weren't the real ones. But
to be clear too, she says the goblins certainly did not make the gates that are in Goblin Town. That where the goblins, from what you described, that was an Arcantian area. She does tell you that the Arcantians of Marius Tricotor, when they were questioning her rudely, she brings up, they often asked about the Obsidian Gates, and with great consternation and frustration, they actually accused me of lying whenever I told them I knew nothing about them other than the fact that they were a Heketi make. It is obviously a source of great mystery to the Arcontians.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Okay, we are back again. Sorry for the rough edit there. It's I made a big boo-boo. I forgot after the second break to actually hit record again. So the last 25 minutes or so of the session are lost to the ether, unfortunately. So, but we caught it right after we stopped recording the session. So we're still here. And the guys are going to give us a brief a summary of what happened in the last 25 minutes. So when we took the break, I believe we're still in the hangar bay discussing what Aklachaw had said about the Obsidian Gates. But go ahead and take it away for what happened in the last 25 minutes.
So I will say, just as like a quick addendum, that was the best. The last 20 minutes was the best role playing we've ever done. It was phenomenal.
It was amazing. And the magic items, just how many we found. It was
natural 20 after natural 20. It was
so literally this recap is not going to do it justice.
Over my shoulder being like, I wish I was as cool as you guys.
The mundane version is that we went back to the Bastion. Wolfhard Cheek created a suckling pig, gave it a good dry rub, and then threw it through the fire trap. We went through. We turned Mort invisible, who scouted ahead. Looking to the west, there was a corridor with an iris door and a niche and a Roomba. Sucking up dust and cleaning things and bothering Mort. And to the east, evidence in the distance of a larger room. So we went that direction, and Mort looked around the corner and saw a weirdly shaped room with a strange curved wall, an iris door at the far corner, and a niche in the south corner. So the guys all came up, and we found a point defense array. Take it away, Matt.
Yes. So in this little niche to the south, it was these screens and a little like joystick and a big red button. We were able to find out that yes, the defense array card that Wolfhard has fits in. He put it in. It looks like there are all kinds of settings that came up. You could set it to manual. You could set it to automatic, all kinds of different ammunition and stuff that you could do. But most importantly, there were views on this of this natural cavern that we'd never seen before with these two exits. We were all like, where's this? We don't know anything. So as we were kind of wrapping up, we were like, too tempted not to press the big red button. So we hit the big red button. A secret door on that curved wall opened up, and we could see in there the very cavern that we had been seeing on these monitors. So we know that if we go in there, that's where these guns are. And that's kind of where we left. Oh yeah, there was a big garbage heap also that was on the monitor as well. So we think that maybe one room is the garbage heap and it leads into the cavern or something like that, where they seem to be related. But
the smell of garbage actually came through when they opened that secret door. So they were extrapolating that likely these trash heap is probably beyond those exits, is what they're extrapolating.
So like, I didn't get to do anything. I just basically stood there and heckled Mort and Matt. But John, at the beginning of the next session, I am going to be pitching Mort through the doors into the field of fire of the point defense system.
This is understood. Standard operating procedure, I'm sure.
Someone has
really to be sure.
Yes. I'm still waiting for like a guinea pig to be pulled out of Laryl's sack to be a guinea pig.
No. It's a little too on the nose for us, John.
Yeah. That it really would require a trigger warning, right? All right.
That suckling pig, a suckling pig is just a baby. You pulled a baby animal out.
I know.
It's a baby animal, man.
Mean, whose job is to be eaten by
Aklachaw's gonna have some words about that.
She doesn't know. What doesn't hurt her.
She knows everything.
All right.
What happens in the Bastion stays in the Bastion, John.
So one thing that also got lost with the lack of being able to record was our thanks that we normally do at the end of the session. So we're going to do that again. So thank you to everyone who has watched or listened to 3D6 Down the Line. This has been episode 99. We are right there at episode 100, almost there. We are the most criminally underwatched actual play series on the internet, as you know. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications every time we publish new material. If you have a few extra bucks in your pocket, please hook us up with a subscription to the Patreon. You get a few extra bennies, of which some are the access to our secret channels in our Discord server. The Discord server itself is free to access for everyone. Lots of interesting discussion going on at all times. Lots of good folks there. And please also check out our lone publication, Feats of Exploration, which has been heavily tested through 99 episodes of the Halls of Arden Vul. I can tell you that it does indeed work as an alternate XP system to award your players for doing the things that every OSR DM likes their players to do. Thanks as always to all of our explorers, delvers, and especially our Conqueror tier patrons. Matt has the distinct privilege of reading out those names tonight. Go ahead for it, Matt.
I shall do this. Thank you. Big thanks to Gregory Diestelhorst, Mike Small, DMW71, Richard Barton. Nice job on the dungeon. James Boyle, Stephen BKK, Doc Jones 73, Jackson Bates, John Hooker, Kayla Ripley Wolf, Zachary Hall, Saps, Papa Bear, Zach Shiflett, Mercury 605, Ruben D. Caller, Dave Rosser Jr., Andrew, Dakota Nielsen, Cam, Stephen Kessenberry, Brad and Aiden, John and La Logan, Kabrowskis, Magic Meat Machine, Tom Leary, Phil, Jeff Tokach, Nick, Terry Barney, Eric Lawson, Mando NZ, Faisal, Ted Gast, James Duig, Grunt, Andrew Schroker, MM, Michael Schilling, Stefano Di Maiolo, Ash Gabriel, the Hex Brawler twins, Han Dandler, Summon Toast, Dungeon Heart Adam, Scott Earsley, Mech Jack, Kick Maniac, Dyer Grew, Tom Eric Garrettson, not Matt, but not least, and my Matts, Matt Mason, Matt Gardner, Matt Koenig, and Matt Young. Thank you all so much. Your support is really, really appreciated.
Thank you as always, guys. We really appreciate it. Sorry about the rough edit there at the end. We will see you next time for episode 100. Everyone have a great week, and we will see you next time. Take care. Bye.
See you. Thanks, John.